In this video, I want to talk about the Son Strickland. What are we doing with Son Strickland next? I've already talked about what you can do with Dricus. I think Dricus has a pretty concrete path forward. I've already said I think Israel Adesanya is next. It's just a matter of whether they're going to do it on UFC 300 or UFC Africa. I think it's going to be UFC Africa just because Israel's injured. But what are you going to do with Strickland? I got this message, and it was, what's your opinion on the future of Son Strickland? And if you guys don't already know, Dana White himself has said that he doesn't want to do an immediate rematch. That's a fight that you can do down the road that he's just not interested in right now, which is very interesting coming from the dude who offered Israel a back-to-back title shot after losing to Son Strickland when he was, 1-2 in his last 3. I know some of you are going to say, well, Israel was a dominant champion. I don't care. I understand. I understand why Israel got another title shot after losing to Alex. I didn't protest that. I protested him getting a title shot after losing to Strickland. To the point that we had to advocate for Dricus to get a title shot, even though Dana White said that Dricus had to fight 2 more fights to get a title shot. Look that up. That's a real quote. So what do we do with Strickland? Let me tell you what I want them to do with him, but let me tell you what they're most likely going to do with the guy. Son Strickland's probably going to have to fight Khamzat Chimaev. It's just a matter of how much they want to F him. What I mean by that is if the UFC wanted to be real mean, they could do Son Strickland versus Khamzat Chimaev, put it on either UFC 300 or another card, make it on the main card, and make it 3 rounds. They are not willing to risk Khamzat Chimaev losing. And the funniest part about it is I think Khamzat Chimaev would actually submit Strickland fairly quickly. I like Strickland. I think Khamzat is a stylistic nightmare for the guy. Every once in a while, you're going to get, these foil matchups. That's what I felt like Strickland was to Israel Adesanya. And there's a lot of people coming out the woodwork saying that Strickland was never a top 5 level, which is wild, by the way. Bro dog-walked Israel Adesanya on short notice. Okay. If Strickland's not top 5 level, Israel's not in the top 5 middleweights. I'm just going to say that right now. Strickland is a top 5 level talent, but they treated him like a journeyman because they knew the stuff that he was going to say on camera. This is what I think they're going to do. Khamzat Chimaev. If, for any reason, Strickland does not take the Khamzat fight, they are going to bury him in the press and market it as, oh, Mr. I'll fight anybody, anywhere, doesn't want to fight Khamzat Chimaev because he's scared. And that's how they're going to market it. And they're going to make him wait. They have to, according to their contract, it's 2 fights a year, 2 different opponents. If I'm Strickland, what I'm advocating for is either a fight with Jared Cannonier, because that is a winnable fight, like it or not. I can see a scenario where instead of the Apex, and that's another thing, Strickland should never fight in the Apex again. Can we agree on that? Whether you believe Dricus won or not, Strickland never fights in the Apex again. Get him out of there, put him in an arena. Son Strickland versus Jared Cannonier in an arena, I can understand why they would be scored for a Son Strickland if they had the exact same fight. The Apex affects how you score a fight, that's just a fact. And how a fight is ruled. And, there's a lot. The Apex is just overall just a bad place to fight. That's how I feel about it. You can either, you advocate for a Jared Cannonier, or you say no to Khamzat, but you want to fight the winner of Paulo Costa and Robert Whittaker. That's what I think you should do if they're not going to give you the next title shot. Because I'm telling you this right now, if he takes the fight with Khamzat and Khamzat wins, his next fight will be Bo Nickel. And for people saying, oh, that would be a crazy jump up the rankings, the UFC wouldn't do that. Abbas Magomedov got to fight Son Strickland for his debut. You want to talk about Dana White privilege? Dagestani privilege is the most rampant. It is crazy. To anybody who wants to bring up any of the privilege in the UFC, just remember Abbas Magomedov got a ranked opponent for his debut in the UFC. That I will never forget that. And that is purely because they wanted to get rid of Son Strickland. They did not want him to be ranked and as a title contender in that division. That's just how it is. Alex Pereira treated him like a journeyman and got a title shot. They wanted to do the same thing with Abbas. They wanted Abbas Magomedov to beat Son Strickland so he could fight Khamzat. That's just the facts. And they're going to do the same thing. The UFC is going to try to bury Sean Strickland. He's a marketable name. He's a star. The UFC doesn't like what the star has to say. That's a fact. If the UFC doesn't like it, ESPN doesn't like it. I know that. Anybody with half a brain cell knows there's an ESPN exec that is sweating every single time Sean Strickland goes on a microphone. Sean Strickland, they're going to try to force him against Khamzat. He loses to Khamzat, Bo Nickel. They're going to give him the Bo Nickel. They do not want Strickland to go back into that title picture because they are aware that Strickland is the perfect foil to Israel. They do not want Israel to lose again. Imagine how effed up it would be as if Israel beats Dricus, because Israel can beat Dricus. Like, I know people are going to look at that fight and being like, oh, Dricus is better than Strickland, and is, like, in Israel wasn't as good as Strickland. Fight me in the comment section. This is how I feel about it. It's rock, paper, scissors, dude. Imagine Israel Adesanya is paper. Strickland's the scissors. Dricus is the rock. I think Dricus was just good enough and has a variety of styles to beat somebody like Strickland. I think Israel is going to win a competitive, but he's going to win a decision against Dricus. Honestly. And that's what sucks about it. Is I think that is going to happen. I think Israel's going to beat Dricus. I think they're going to do a Khamzat Chimaev versus Israel Adesanya super fight. I think that's what they've been targeting. And I think that'll lead into this next era. What I mean by this is I think middleweight is going to turn into a division of wrestlers. Bo Nickel's coming in. Ikram Aliskerov is coming in. Like, these guys are coming up and they have styles that will do very well in this division. People are on the out. Robert Whittaker's not going to stick around too much longer. Sean Strickland's not going to be around that much longer. Neither is Israel. Dricus, I'm not sure how old Dricus is. Dricus might be around for a couple more years. I believe he's 30. Yeah, we got a few more years with Dricus. But this division is going to turn into a division of wrestlers. And what's going to usher that in is Khamzat Chimaev. They want Khamzat to take the sign off of Strickland. I think Khamzat stylistically does beat Strickland. The only way Strickland wins this is if he makes it out of the first and second round, honestly. I believe Strickland can outstrike the guy. Khamzat's a crazy good grappler, dude, and Abbas Magomedov has a similar style, and Abbas was able to take him down. That's how I feel about it. Loses, feed him the Bo Nickel. That's why I'm worried, and it kind of sucks that Strickland lost, because they wouldn't have given this treatment to Dricus, because they don't want to bury Dricus. They will bury Strickland. And they will use him to give star power to these other athletes. That's the sad reality of what's going to happen next. All I am saying, Strickland, we are advocating you to get a rematch. The way that you do that, and what the UFC is going to tell you, is we'll give you an immediate title shot if you can beat Khamzat Chimaev. Do not take the bait. Sean Strickland versus the winner of Paulo Costa and Robert Whittaker, or advocate for that Jared Cannonier rematch. Winner gets the next title shot. People want to see Dricus versus Strickland too. The UFC doesn't want that. Like, everybody wants that rematch. Nobody wants to give it to Israel. Like, I understand it makes sense. It does numbers and I'll pay for it either way. But I'm telling you, Israel's going to beat Dricus. And somebody's going to go in the comment section saying, oh, well, you thought Strickland was going to beat Dricus. Here's the difference. I hope I'm wrong. I hope Dricus flatlines Israel Adesanya. I hope Dricus is able to take him down at will. The problem is this. Israel Adesanya has a style that is not good to beat Strickland. Israel has the perfect style to beat people like Dricus du Plessis. That's just a fact, bro. Marvin Vettori, Robert Whittaker. I understand you could say, well, Dricus is just a better version of that. They're similar enough. The only argument I can make for Dricus beating Israel is you can argue Robert Whittaker was close enough to beating him in the second fight that Dricus is gonna be able to beat him there. I'm telling you, I think Israel can beat Dricus, and that would suck. Just to go through like this fun little title, we're throwing the title around just to end it off with Israel Adesanya's the middleweight champion, and they're gonna say he's the fucking GOAT. And they're never going to do the Strickland rematch. Purely they're going to be... This is what they're going to say. Israel Adesanya did what Strickland wasn't able to do and beat Drakus. Therefore, Israel is better than Sean Strickland. MMA math only exists when it benefits the UFC. That's just a fact. They did the same thing with Jones and Cyril Gane. Cyril Gane arguably beat Francis Ngannou. John Jones submitted Cyril Gane. I believe Francis could beat John Jones. But how they're going to market it is John Jones is better than Francis because he did better against Cyril Gane. It just does. MMA math ain't mathin'. We saw that this weekend. But yeah, dude, I'm sorry I have to be the bummer, but I'm telling you that's what they're going to try to do. And it is going to be the start of the end if it gets announced. UFC 300, Khamzat Chimaev versus Sean Strickland. Isn't this a banger, guys? No, you're ending my boy's career. But yeah, anyways, tell me what you think in the comment section below. I try to get daily MMA content out, but at the same time, I don't want to give you guys any filler videos. This is just stuff that I can rant about. Thank you guys for watching. Adios, guys.